A conversation about cozying up to Donald Trump caused tensions to flare on Morning Joe, and the fiery exchange between two of MSNBC's big dogs was captured perfectly in this reaction by co-host Mika Brzezinski, and I have the blow-by-blow confrontation for you next. The heated debate over how to engage with Donald Trump left panelists and viewers stunned. It was not your typical political discussion. It was Michael Steele calling out Joe Scarborough and Joe scrambling to strike back. We pick up the exchange on the heels of Scarborough's monologue. He turns over the mic to Steele and then tries to take it back. And Steele seizes the moment to get some things off his chest, including a veiled reference to Scarborough visiting Trump after his win. A moment that many have described as kissing the ring. Watch as the fur flies.
As we move along, it is important for people to say, this is what the Supreme Court did yesterday. This is what the 11th Circuit did yesterday. Looks a hell of a lot like what they've been doing for the past 8 years.
So the 11th Circuit had slapped down Eileen Cannon twice before, because it's just bogus rulings on her part. And they're going to honor that judicial responsibility. Supreme Court decision yesterday, okay, all right, but I don't see the Supreme Court addressing the fact that one of its justices had an improper conversation.
Michael, I'm not saying we're walking in a winter wonderland.
Joe, you had your moment. Let me just finish the point.
I know, but
I get
tell
that.
us something we don't know.
Well, I'm telling you something that you seem to forget. And so let me make my point. You may not like it, but I'm going to make it. And the reality of it is, I take your civility argument, and you like to say 78 million people voted for Donald Trump. Well, 82 million people voted for Joe Biden.
Right.
And he didn't get that civility that you're talking about from Donald Trump in those 4 years.
Right.
So now the expectation is, because he's won again and he got 78 million people, we all got to be civil to Donald Trump. Well, okay, I'm prepared to be civil.
Nobody said that.
You did.
No, I didn't say it.
I did.
No, so I didn't say everybody has to be civil.
The reality of it is, you're using the term civil. I've never used that term. I'm using your term. You put civility on the table.
You said we all have to be civil. There is a pushback that you have to have.
But Joe.
I'm just talking about Barack Obama.
I'm not fine. I'm not talking about that. My main point is everybody's looking at this from a one-way perspective. How we need to approach Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. How the hell is he approaching us?
Yeah.
Right? The man wants to lock up citizens. The man wants to turn the government against him. How are we to respond to that? Are we supposed to be civil?
Michael, do you think we don't know that?
Doesn't seem like it.
Michael, why do you...
Not you. I'm just saying the
Michael,
broader
Michael,
you.
Why do you feel the need to create false choices?
I'm not creating a false choice. I'm using your words.
You have created...
I'm using you. You put civility on the table.
My words. You took me saying that it's not the end of the world, that Barack Obama smiled and talked to Donald Trump, and you're turning that into that we have no idea what's before us.
I'm not.
You will play very well today on Blue Sky and Threads and X. Congratulations.
I'm not playing to anybody. I don't have an audience here. I'm just saying. I don't have a particular. I'm talking to the American people just like you are. I'm using the words you use.
No, you're twisting.
And so I'm not twisting your words. So let me untwist them.
Okay, good.
Civility is a two-way street, as I said at the very beginning, and then you attacked that.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. You did,
Michael.
You did. So you did. No.
You need to go back and look at the tape.
We can look at the tape, but the reality of it is, my general point, Joe, is that civility is a two-way street. If you want to throw civility on the table, I'm with you. I'm all down with that. I think absolutely what we witnessed yesterday with 5 living presidents sitting there at the funeral of a former president is a seminal American moment. Mm-hmm. All right. And it's an important one. And the politics and the sort of funny moments that occur, those are great. But next week, we start a new regime. We start a new direction. And everybody wants us to behave a certain way in this new era. And I'm more than willing to do that.
That way?
Yeah.
Whatever it is,
What
if it's civility, if it's accommodation to Donald Trump, as we see corporate America doing, if it's bending the knee, whatever it is. But my point is,
nobody's saying be civil in the face of or being compliant, or to be Mark Zuckerberg. And nobody's saying that. Again, the fact that I just talked about, hey, may not be a bad thing that Barack Obama was polite. And suddenly this is me saying everyone must be civil and compliant. That is a false choice. That is a false narrative.
Okay.
Why should you say it every day?
said it.
That's fine. But, Susan used a phrase like, the people who are going to be affected here. And Anand used the phrase about the people who are feeling undefended. That's where my head is. Yeah. That's where my head is. And that's where the New Republic is. There are millions and millions of Americans who are scared.
Yeah.
For good reason.
They're not alone.
For damn good reason. Yeah.
I think.
And I wake up thinking about them.
Hundreds of millions of people scared,
that's who we ought to be worrying about.
Can I just say one thing
January
that
20th
I hope we all remember about the outcome of the election? With all due respect to Anand, the American public is not waiting for someone to lead them out of fascism. That is not what the American public sent us a message about. They're waiting for people to listen to them and actually engage with them in their communities about what they want from the government. And so part of the challenge here is continuing to have the conversation in a way that's academic and ivory tower and not what actually people are dealing with. And that, to me, is a big part of the outcome and why Trump connected in a weird way, and why we need to change what we do and not talk about it as leading people out of fascism. That's not what the public is looking for.
Pulling to big picture, you're both right in your own way.
Michael Steele argued for a more firm and critical stance, and Scarborough doubled down for the need for dialogue, even if controversial. But ultimately, cooler heads prevailed, and the debate captured a broader tension in American politics. Does the simple act of acknowledging Donald Trump as the president-elect that he is by virtue of a fair election normalize his extremism? Or should the words and actions by the man who has repeatedly undermined democratic principles be resisted and shut down at every opportunity? With the stakes so high, do we maintain dialogue or do we stand on our principles? Honestly, I don't know what the answer is or what that balance should be, but I do appreciate the debate we just saw. Michael Steele is a former chair of the Republican National Committee, and Joe Scarborough is a former Republican representative of Florida. Having conservative voices calling out Donald Trump on a consistent basis and having fierce conversations with each other perfectly represents the quote by historian Howard Zinn that reads, "Dissent is the highest form of patriotism."